Let's go! It's the forgotten rock, all about boxing. Yeah, we talking about the greats, no stopping. Round and round, add up the weight. And if it's legendary, then count that pound for pound fate. From Muhammad Ali to Frazier, yeah, that's a combo. Hear the crowd roar, watch him swing like a thunderstorm. George Foreman with the grill and the power to take ya. Hit so hard, man, he just might break ya. Tyson with the fury, a beast in the ring. Shakur strategy, the way he makes him swing.
Hi, this is Pete Farrow.
And this is Matt Brown.
And we're here with the boxing podcast, The Forgotten Rock. And today's topics, we'll be talking a little bit about the Shakur Stevenson victory over Teofimo Lopez. We'll talk about the Deontay Wilder up-and-coming fight. And we'll also talk about the Floyd Mayweather legal action against Showtime and former Showtime executive Steve Espinoza. What's going on?
Hey, man, listen, it's a lot of stuff going on in boxing. Like you said, we're going to touch on the Shakur Stevenson fight and also what's ahead for Shakur Stevenson, because some very interesting things happened after the Shakur Stevenson fight where he was relieved of his WBC lightweight title. There's been a lot of furor around that decision by Mauricio Suleiman. I'm kind of wondering, what's your thoughts on Shakur being stripped of his title, Pete?
Well, I believe that he was talking to his good friend, Terrence Bud Crawford, and they said, why are we paying out all this money to this organization when we don't have to? Let's just get all the build-up for it, fight for the title, and then move on. And I feel in my heart that if the organization lets you fight for their title, then, yeah, you owe them money. If you win this title.
Now, maybe this is just me doing the tinfoil hat thing, but I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of the stuff that's happening surrounding the sanctioning bodies is with the entry of TKO and Zuffa Boxing into the boxing sphere. We know that TKO did Terrence Crawford's last fight against Canelo Alvarez. We know that they're planning on doing a couple more fights, starting with the Tyson Fury Arslanbek Mahmudov fight in April. There's been talk that they're going to do business with Shakur also. Do we think that maybe this is a coordinated attack on the WBC because Mauricio Suleiman is seen as the head of the snake when it comes to the sanctioning bodies?
I agree, but to a point. An objective fact. You fought for the WBC title. You had no trouble getting up in the rankings and being ranked number one and getting the fight and fighting for the title. You win it. Hey, you should pay.
Yeah.
Bottom line. If you had any trouble with that, you should have spoke up before the fight, not after you win the fight, get the money and say, wait a minute, I'm just
I agree.
now.
I agree. And it kind of made me laugh that he seemed surprised that he was stripped. I think he knew what was going on. I think his team knew what was going on. And to me, this is just bad PR for the WBC, but they'll be fine. I'm thinking if Mauricio Suleiman is as smart as I think he is, he's going to announce a mini tournament to crown a new WBC 135-pound champion. You do that, and have names like Lamont Roach, O'Shaquie Foster, William Zepeda, Hadi Herrera, have them face off and fight each other for the new belt. No one's going to care that Shakur held the belt before.
Exactly. You know, things will go on. They'll come up with a new champion, and that will produce another super fight when that new champion ultimately fights Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah.
But now, since we're talking about topics and Shakur Stevenson and the present, do you think Shakur Stevenson will ever fight Tank Davis?
Man, it's so hard to say because it looks like Tank's next fight is going to be in the courtroom, unfortunately. We would like to see him get in the ring with Shakur Stevenson. Fans have been clamoring for that for years now, ever since they were fighting each other in the Mayweather gym. So we know there's a history there. I do think, and maybe this is just me being delusional, I do think that the fight is still going to happen. It's too much money to be made. It'll be too much of a black mark on both of these guys' resumes if they retire without fighting each other. So I think ultimately the fight will happen.
With the masterclass performance that Shakur put on last weekend against Lopez, do you think now, though, people are starting to say, wait a minute, Tank had trouble in his last fight with Roach when he had to draw. He didn't look half as good as he normally does, and most people agree that Shakur is about 10 times better than Roach. So it wouldn't even be a fair fight anyway, though it will be a super fight. What do you think about that?
Well, Joe Frazier beat Ali. George Foreman dribbled Joe Frazier like a basketball. Ali beat George Foreman.
So styles make fights.
Yeah, we could always do the triangle theory thing when it comes to boxing, but until these guys step in the ring and are across from each other, we really can't say that we know for sure what's going to happen.
That fight is so big, and the money that will become from this fight, they could pay off all these legal things and make people be quiet and step to the side and here, honey, here's $6 million. I'm sorry for slapping you in your head and dragging you from the parking lot to the restroom. And the fight, allegedly, I agree with that. But all the money that's floating around, like you said, it should have been done years ago, and it's still popular enough that it could get done now. It's probably more popular now because they're both in the news. The last week, you're reading about both of them, not for the same reason, but they're both out there getting a lot of publicity.
Yeah, I agree, man. Honestly, I think it's the biggest fight in boxing. To me, I put Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis on the level of a Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo Alvarez. I think it's going to be that kind of fight, a 2 million pay-per-view buy kind of fight. So the fight has to happen. Tank knows it has to happen. Shakur knows it has to happen. It's just a matter of getting Tank back in the win column, getting him back in the good graces of the boxing public, and then top of 2027, we need that fight.
I agree with you 100%. That should be like the first order of business. Get that fight done in 2027 early, get Tank back into the gym and stuff. But then I got to say this too now. I know it's alleged and it's not proven yet, but he got to stay out of trouble and in the ring and out of the courtroom.
Stay out those nightclubs, man. First of all, bro, you are way too big and too famous to be still messing with bottle girls. That's like when Tiger Woods got caught messing with the cocktail waitress. Bro, you're bigger than that. You're bigger than that, man. Stay out of these clubs. Leave these women alone. Focus on your craft. Focus on making your money. Get in, get out, retire with your faculties, and move on with your life, man. You can get any woman you want, man. You don't need the bottle girl because she won't return your phone call. Leave that girl alone, man. Allegedly.
Well, my question here, too, is you're right there. You're at the threshold of greatness. Both of them. If one beats the other, that's it.
Yeah.
Pound for pound, you're the king of boxing. Especially now that Terrence Bud Crawford is gone.
Yeah.
There's no, I have yet to see the gentleman that Bob Arum's promoting from Japan.
Are you talking about Mayweather anyway?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
he's good.
bad man.
Yes, he is.
He's
baddest thing to come out of Japan since Godzilla.
Oh, man.
But we want to see more of him also.
Yeah. I think we're going to see more of him. Maybe not in the States, but in the beginning of May, he's going to be fighting Junto Nakatani, which is going to be the biggest fight in the history of Japan. It's going to sell out the Tokyo Dome within 3 minutes. It's going to be a raucous crowd. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm not sure if you saw, but last night, Brandon Figueroa won the 126-pound title. The week before, Shushu Carrington won the WBC version of the 126-pound title. You got Rafael Espinosa coming up. You got Angelo Leo coming up. That's going to be a super fight in the U.S. Inoue versus one of those guys.
That is a super duper fight.
Yeah.
In the boxing world. But let it, manerate. What is the word they use? Let it grow. Let it get bigger.
We need that in September.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want no marination. As soon as you fight Junto and do what you do, we need you back here in the United States. Go to California, go to Vegas, go to New York. I don't care where you fight at, but we need to see you against Shushu Carrington or Brandon Figueroa.
Oh, that'll be the biggest super fight since 1981 when Wilfredo Gomez fought Southpaw Sanchez.
Oh, yeah.
Right or wrong?
Oh, you're absolutely. That was the fight that made people realize that the little guys can sell in boxing. That was a very significant fight. I think this one would be just as significant because I think Inoue, he has prodigious talents. I'll be honest with you. Inoue is the one fighter who, if you compare him to Floyd Mayweather, I wouldn't be upset at that. I always hear, this guy's like Floyd, this guy's like Floyd. No. Inoue, he's like Floyd Mayweather. He's a master of his craft. To me, he is the best fighter in the world. It's just a matter of the United States getting on board with him.
I agree. If you remember, though, getting back to Gomez and Sanchez, it's the night that Sanchez knocked Gomez out, who had never lost before, was the night that he got crowned the best fighter in the world.
Yeah.
And then a year later, he was in a tragic car accident.
Yeah. Unfortunate, man. But, that's boxing sometimes, man. Boxing is the theater of the unexpected. It's the highs and the lows of the fight game, And speaking of that, we got to get into, another topic in boxing. Deontay Wilder, speaking of the highs and lows of boxing, he was riding high, WBC champ for many years. He fell short against Tyson Fury in their trilogy. He fell short against Joseph Parker. He got knocked out by Zhilei Zhang in Riyadh. Now he's back. He wants to get that title again. He's hungry again. He got all his shoulder surgeries. He got all his arm surgeries. He's feeling good. He's looking good. April 4th, he's going up against Derek Chisora. His 50th fight, Derek Chisora's 50th fight. How do you see that playing out?
Well, you can never, ever, ever count Deontay Wilder out. Even the guys that already beat him, if he fought them again, he's still a danger because of that lethal, potent right hand that he carries. All right? It's dynamite. If he lands it, he knocks the guy out.
Yeah.
He knocks anybody out. And like you said, show you how boxing is, how one punch can change anything. In the first fight he had against Tyson Fury, he had him knocked down at the end. I mean, this controversy that, one more second either way, he would have knocked Fury out, and there wouldn't have been a 3
Or
fight.
maybe if Jack Reese wasn't whispering sweet nothings in Fury's ear while he was counting, I don't know what was going on with that.
That's what I'm saying. They were like talking as he was down. Are you okay? 3.
Yeah.
You sure? 4. You can buy me a drink after the fight? 5. And then he finally got to 10, and he had popped up. But what a trilogy that was. One of the greatest trilogies in boxing we've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'll say this, though. When Wilder changed trainers from the first fight to the second fight, that new trainer was taught boxing by Emanuel Stewart because it was Manny's his uncle. So when that happened, Manny used to tell me this when I used to go down to his training camps. He didn't think much of the Klitschko's at the time. He goes, I don't think they can fight. He says, when you fight somebody that you don't believe knows how to box, back them up, stay on top of them, and make them go backwards. And that's exactly what Fury did to Wilder in the second fight. Backed him up, never gave him room, never gave him a chance to land a big right hand, and he knocked him out relatively easy. I was there.
Yeah.
So, but
one of the worst nights of my life, by the way. I'm a big Deontay Wilder guy, man. I shed a few tears that night. It was not a good night in the Brown household, I will say.
Oh my goodness, I'm sure that I was shocked. I thought the second fight would pretty much go the way the first one did, but I was wrong. And I just remember right after the fight, because I was there, Fury went to that little restaurant in the MGM, and he paid like $100,000 and gave a little party right after, because he won the title. Like he was the undisputed champ of the world, and just the spur of the moment. He's a spur of the moment kind of a guy, and he made a couple of title defenses, and he beat Wilder again, and that was a spectacular fight.
That fight was one of the most brutal heavyweight fights I saw in a long time.
Yeah,
they were beating the hell out of each other.
Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah, yeah. And if you think about it, neither one has been the same since. No.
I agree with that. They haven't. But we'll see. This fight that Wilder has coming up, it could be easy. It could be very hard. He could knock the guy out the first time he hits him, or it could be a rumble. What do you think?
Now, I'm thinking Deontay Wilder gets the job done in Deontay Wilder fashion. Derek Chisora is not going to be hard to find, and Derek Chisora doesn't want to be hard to find. They call him War Chisora for a reason. He's coming to bring the noise. Now, you did say something very interesting. You said that the way to beat someone like Wilder is to back them up and keep them on their back foot. That's going to be an issue for Wilder against Chisora, because Chisora is full steam ahead. So the question is going to be, can Wilder meet force with force, or is he going to move back and kind of blunt his own power in order to avoid Derek Chisora's power?
I think, it's just a theory now, just from the mind of Pete Farrow, that Wilder's going to come out there and throw that right hand right away and try to get this guy out of there. He doesn't want a hard fight. He doesn't want a war. He just wants to be able to say after the fight, Usk, I'm ready. I'm ready to fight for the title. Let's do it now. Let's do it in the United States. Let's make a little money and let's have a good fight. That's just my opinion.
Now, before the Wilder fight versus Chisora was announced, there was a lot of talk that Wilder was going to be fighting Alexander Usyk sometime this year. Is that a fight that you would be interested in seeing?
Yes, absolutely. I think the styles make fights. But I brought this to Wilder's attention last week at the press conference. I said, well, how come you're not fighting him next? Why are you waiting? Why are you taking another fight? One fight, anything could happen. This is boxing. You could blow a big payday. You could blow a chance of getting the title back. He said he wanted to make sure that he was correct because in his last couple fights, he had a bad shoulder. He had this. He had that. He was, having trouble with this, that, and the other thing. He says he wants to make sure everything is correct when he fights for the title again. He says, but when he knocks this guy out, that he's going to go right after the heavyweight champion of the world.
Well, we will see what happens with that. What else is going on in the boxing world that's kind of piquing your interest right now?
Oh, one of the major things, and I have experience with this gentleman, Floyd Mayweather, suing Showtime, and also suing Steve Espinosa, the former...
Nobody wins when the family feuds. Come on, Floyd.
Exactly. He's suing them for $350 million. And I want to say this. This has happened so many times in boxing when these great champions go out and make all this money. 5-6 years later, they burn through all the money through entourages, through big cars, through fancy cribs, etc., etc. When the money's all gone, then they look back and they say, wait a minute, this guy stole this from me. That guy stole that from me. Nobody stole anything from me. But let's go to the courtroom and let's see what happens. Well, how do you feel about this?
Well, in the words of the famous Peebo Bryson, tale is old as time. This is what it is in boxing, like you said, man. Everyone's always looking back. They want to spin the block. They want to see what money they might have missed. But here's the thing. He's saying that all this stuff was a scheme perpetrated by Al Heyman, but Al Heyman's not part of the lawsuit. I found that to be very right. He didn't name him as the defendant. He named Showtime, and he named Steven Espinosa. Now, I'm not sure if you saw, but Steven Espinosa did respond to the lawsuit. He said, listen, he's disappointed in the lawsuit. He's kind of shocked that it's happening, but he feels like that he can stand on his reputation and his integrity in getting fighters paid, and he feels that everything that Floyd was owed, he got. So...
And I'm sure he did. And, he spends frivolously. I'm very cool with Floyd. I introduced him to one of his girlfriends, and he was sending her, substantial money, every couple weeks. If you do that with a couple different girls, it adds up. Plus, he has like more than 50 cars, all these homes that he owns. He bets on college basketball games, on football games, on NBA basketball games. He's high maintenance, his life. And with this type of lifestyle that he's living, you burn through money.
Yeah. But that's not to say that they didn't steal money from him, because, listen, if he feels that he was robbed, hey, go get your money. But I do find it interesting, and this is me. Listen, you might think I'm tinfoil hat man again. I don't think it's a coincidence that none of this stuff came up until Richard Schaefer came into the picture. And if you read the 25-page lawsuit, Floyd mentioned that it was Richard Schaefer who brought these things to his attention and looked into things. Now, Richard Schaefer, I'm not saying he has an axe to grind, but he was with Golden Boy, he was with Al Heyman, and then when the split happened, he thought that he was going to be the new guy for Al Heyman.
Right.
And that did not turn out to be the case.
Well, you're 100% correct. And I like to say this about Rich Schaefer, who I happen to like. But, Rich, if you're listening, a farmer can't live off of last year's crops. You can't have fighters go back and say, well, 5-6 years ago, this guy took this from me. That he wasn't talking about that 5 or 6 years ago. You were talking about whatever. All right, now this guy comes into your fold. He's your new CEO of your company. He's saying, he might have did this, he might have done that. And Al Heyman's name is not on that lawsuit at all. Yeah.
Well, not as a defendant, but his name is looming large in the papers. And, one thing that Floyd revealed that, was talked about in boxing circles but never really made public is that Al Heyman suffered a stroke late 2023, and he was actually incapacitated. So what Floyd says is that when Al was incapacitated after dealing with the stroke, that all of a sudden all of Floyd's lawyers abruptly quit over the next couple months. So he thinks that they were trying to leave a sinking ship because maybe something was going to be discovered now that Al Heyman wasn't there to run things.
Right. Well, that's very, very possible. I heard that Al was sick. Nobody ever brought to my attention what it was.
Yeah.
But I met Al a couple times, and
so he does exist.
Yes, he does. Yes,
okay,
yes,
I'm just checking.
Twice I've shook his hands, and right after I shook his hands, I met Elvis Presley in the casino, and once I met Michael Jackson. After 2009. But Al exists, and up until recently, that's another topic that maybe we should touch on a little bit today. Is some of the problems that promoters are having with the new power structure in boxing, the new infrastructure. Golden Boy Promotions with going in foreclosure on their building and trying to restructure the deal. PBC's been having trouble now for a couple of years, and fighters are jumping ship, right? Top Rank, probably the number one promoter in the world.
Yeah, maybe of all time.
Of all time, possibly. Of all time. They have the credentials, to prove it. They lost their deal with ESPN.
Yeah.
ESPN is going totally to football.
Yeah. And wrestling, apparently. Yeah. Another TKO thing.
So well, there you go. What does that tell you? Like, all these major players in boxing are having trouble.
It tells me that the landscape is changing, but what exactly the landscape is changing to, I think, is going to be difficult for everyone to really predict. Because right now, Turkey's the guy. He's the tastemaker. He is the man in boxing. But we've seen this before. We've seen guys come and go in boxing all the time. You think they're the man, but they weren't the last man standing. Okay, so whether or not Turkey survives, whether or not Turkey even wants to stay in boxing.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
Who even knows?
Something that Bob Arum had said about 10 or 15 years ago, and it's so true. He said he's seen so many bleached bones in the boxing desert.
Yeah.
So many people come into boxing and they do good for a while, and then something happens, and then they're out of business, and they never come. Some people come in for a very short period of time, like Jay-Z. Remember
50
he
Cent.
came in, 50 Cent. They all came in for a little while, and when they came in, they were taking over.
Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield with Real Deal Promotions.
Well, with Mike Tyson, though, Mike, to me, not only is a friend, but he's an A-list celebrity, so he'll always be around. Where the other guys like Holyfield, I don't think that was his own promotion. They used his name, but I don't think that they
actually had signed Edgar Berlanga. Oh, yeah. Fun fact: Edgar Berlanga started with Real Deal Promotions.
Yeah, but he's not. You know what I mean? Like, it's just without going into the fighters, just going into like the promotions and the platforms that they're using. Showtime's out of business. HBO, which was like a god in boxing, right? They were so big, they're no longer around. They're out of boxing. Showtime's out of boxing. The Zone. I heard that they're having a lot of trouble. I heard they're being called Dead Zone.
Well, here's the thing: in the U.S., they are the Dead Zone. They have less than 1 million subscribers in the U.S., so it's always going to be hard to build stars on the Zone. And we were talking earlier off camera where there's a dearth of boxing stars. And to what do we attribute that? Is it the networks being out of it? I'll be honest with you. I think that the dearth of boxing stars is because of the way boxing is covered. I think a lot of times us in the media, we have to bear the brunt of the blame, because a lot of times we don't talk about boxing in a positive way. We always talk about everything that's bad with boxing. If you look at the NFL or the NBA, these are guys, they're promoting the game. Hey, tune into this. Oh, you're going to see Nikola Jokic. He's Mr. Triple-Double, one of the best players in the NBA. Tune in to see that. They're not going to say, hey, that guy Jokic, that guy is fat and he sucks on defense. Don't watch him. But if he was a boxer, they would tell you all his flaws instead of why you should tune in. So I think years and years of conditioning fans to only debate things in terms of flaws and what's bad about this, what's bad about that, instead of saying, hey, this is the reason why you should watch this event. I think that's what really, I don't want to say killed boxing, because I don't think you can kill boxing. As long as
you got two guys hitting each other,
yeah,
people are always going to tune in.
People are going to tune in. You can't kill boxing. But I do think that the star power has waned a little bit because we're not doing our jobs uplifting the boxing game. We're taking from it, but we're not giving back to the game as we should.
I agree with you 100%. That is a very true statement. And we're waiting for the next star.
Yeah.
We're waiting for the next Tyson. We're waiting for the next Mayweather. We're waiting for the next Pacquiao. When and where it's going to happen, I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
But he has to come along soon, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, if there was some formula to build the next star, every promoter would do it. You think a promoter doesn't want to make money? You know, it's just that there's no tried and true formula to building the star. Some guys just catch fire with the public.
Right.
You know, Mike Tyson, the little mean kid from Brooklyn, you know, fighting out the Catskills, the peekaboo style, the black boots with no socks, no music, just coming down to the ring and knocking people out.
That's what people wanted to see. And you got to remember, too, about Tyson. He had a story with him. You know, like an old white man, Customato, you know, a bit of a nut, right, eccentric, but he knew boxing. He already brought somebody to the heavyweight championship. He's adopting him at 13 years old, brings him to the heavyweight championship. All his fights are knockouts. You know, it's a story that the world wanted to hear.
Yeah, but how did we hear that story? Through the media, through journalism. It's not that there's nothing to cover in boxing. It's that we're too lazy to go find and tell the stories. Right. We got to tell the stories are out there. The story, like, there's no, because listen, boxing is a sport of the poor, all right? Let's be honest. A lot of the best boxers came from some of the harshest conditions, the harshest backgrounds. Why do we not know about them? How many more Ali documentaries do we need?
Yeah, exactly. I've seen too many. I love Ali, but so many books and documentaries and throwing the metal in the river and all. It does get to be much to cover other people. I agree with that 100%. And have any of these big promoters, have they given back anything to the sport?
No. Come on.
Bob Arum wouldn't give a crippled crab a crutch.
He wouldn't.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, and listen, because everyone wants to make money. And you know what? This is America. You should try to make as much money as you can. But when you have something that is so ingrained in the fabric of society like boxing, because boxing has been ingrained in the fabric of society for centuries, when you have something like that, I think you have a responsibility to be a good steward. You have to do right by boxing. Don't take more than you give. You gotta give back to the game. You gotta build these fighters, build the stories. You know, one of the things with Showtime, not Showtime, with Top Rank, that I was really disgusted by. I remember during the bubble era of Top Rank, when Shakur Stevenson was fighting in the bubble, and they said, we don't think we can sell Shakur Stevenson unless he's a villain, because the black guy has to be a villain. So you're telling me there's nothing interesting about Shakur Stevenson?
Who told you that? The black guy? Trump? Who told you that the black guy has to be the villain? I mean, these are old stereotypes that we should get away from. And as far as Mr. Stevenson, his talent alone should make him flourish.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He just showed us last week what a talent he is.
22,000 in Madison Square Garden.
That's what I mean. They broke a record for attendance.
Yeah.
But on top of that, he looked really good.
Yeah.
There was no slip-ups. There were no floors. There was just good old-school boxing. Hit without being hit.
Exactly. Now, I will say, though, he kind of threw some cold water on his own parade, because after that great performance, everyone's hype. Hey, come here, Conor Ben. What? Conor Ben?
Conor, in the old days, it would have been, could have been. You know what I mean? Because he's not at the level of the guys that are up there now. You know?
If anything, he should have said, hey, Tank, I know you got stuff going on.
No,
we still need to run this.
That's what
I don't want to hear Conor Benn's name with any of these big fighters that have star potential.
No.
I don't want to hear it.
No, I mean, you got Stevenson, you got Boots.
Oh yeah.
Boots. I mean, to me, he's very talented. Keyshawn Davis, is that his name?
Yeah.
What a talent that guy is.
Very talented. Mercurial, but talented.
Talented.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is what's going on. But Conor Benn, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not, listen, maybe they could build him over in the UK, have him fight Josh Kelly in some big domestic dust-up. But over here, we want to see our guys.
That's what I'm saying. Well, this building these guys up over there, I think the Zone does that, right? They build up all these people over in England. But when they get over here, they're
not the same.
They're lukewarm talent to begin with.
Yeah, it's not the same. But we named Shakur Stevenson. We named Keyshawn Davis. We named Jaron Ennis. We do have guys that have real star potential. It's just a matter of getting their stories out there and getting people engaged and interested. And that's why podcasts like the one you're doing, very, very important. You're one of the guys who people are gonna look to for content. Hey, what's the latest in boxing? What does Pete Farrell think? That's what people are gonna be looking for.
I appreciate that, and thank you, Matt. And it was just great to be along beside you, knowing your boxing knowledge, and we want to have you back as much as we possibly can. And we just thank you for your wisdom, your mercy, your love, your ability to show up and give us your perspective on things. Yeah,
man, this is a pleasure to be here. But I want to ask you a couple things about the boxing business, because you have seen everything. I've
been around since Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. I was right there.
Listen, when Eve ate the apple, I heard that you picked it for her.
I picked it for her, and I spoke to her in Latin.
So I wanted to ask you, because people do say that maybe the star power is down, maybe the business is going in a different direction. To what do you attribute the exit of HBO and the exit of Showtime and now the exit of ESPN from boxing?
All right, let's start with the exit of HBO. I heard Bob Arum say this at a press conference as HBO was walking out the building. He said that they are now going to take their money and invest in movies and series, like, not Sopranos, but that type of thing. Things like Soprano, like new series, the Game of Thrones. That's where they were putting their money at, because they knew it would be more profitable. The money for the fights is good, but only lasts for a little while.
Yeah.
All right. So that's one. That's HBO. Showtime. I was driving around the Strip in Vegas. It was afternoon of the week of the big fight. And me and a friend of mine, Craig Lamar, known as Craig Boogie, we were talking to Steve Espinoza right on the phone as we're driving down the Strip. And he said it. He said, there's no stars. You don't have stars, then really the content doesn't really count, because a lot of people are not going to watch. Even it could be the best fight in the world. If you don't have a star in there, a lot of people haven't tuned in to begin with. And what's the last one you had asked about? ESPN. They're going right to football.
Yeah.
That's where they wanted to invest their money in. And, everybody watches the football game. Today's the Super Bowl. No, it's a coincidence. But every person in America will be watching that, and all over the world watching that game today.
Absolutely.
Now, let me ask you a question now. If there was a boxing match this afternoon between two non-stars, how many people would watch it?
I mean, I would watch it.
Yeah, we have people. Oh, yeah,
I would watch it.
We love boxing. All of us in this room are diehard boxing fans. But the majority of the people today are going to be watching the Super Bowl. So I think that it's a smart decision on ESPN's behalf. But I just want to make this point, too. ESPN has been in boxing and has left it before and has come back.
Yeah.
You remember that. So when they used to have fights, they used to have top-ranked fights.
Yeah.
So
Caveman Lee.
Exactly. Caveman Lee. So, Matt, thank you for your time. Everybody, thank you for watching our podcast today and The Forgotten Rock. And we just look forward to the next episode. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Good stuff, brother.
Thank you, champ. Can I drop you to the train station? Thank you.
Good stuff.
Nice. Sean, you going to call me?
We in this. Let's go! It's the Forgotten Rock, all about boxing. Yeah, we talking about the greats, no stopping. Round and round. add up the weight. And if it's legendary, then count that pound for pound fate. From Muhammad Ali to Frazier, yeah, that's a combo. Hear the crowd roar, watch him swing like a thunderstorm. George Foreman with the grill and the power to take ya. Hit so hard, man, he just might break ya. Tyson with the fury, a beast in the ring. Shakur strategy, the way he makes a swing.